My name is Scarlett. I'm 28 years old, and I'm about to tell you the most devastating and ultimately liberating story of my life. It's about the day I discovered that blood doesn't always make you family, and sometimes the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally are the ones who hurt you the most. It was supposed to be the happiest day in my sister Emma's life, her wedding day, the day she'd been planning for 2 years, the day our entire family had been anticipating. But for me, it became the day everything I thought I knew about my family crumbled into dust. The morning started innocently enough. I woke up in my small apartment across town, my bridesmaid dress hanging carefully on my closet door. The soft pink silk caught the morning light beautifully, and I remember thinking how perfect everything would be. I'd spent weeks helping Emma with last-minute details, addressing invitations, organizing her bachelorette party, and coordinating with vendors. I was the maid of honor, after all, her big sister, her best friend, or so I thought. I should have known something was wrong when my phone had been unusually quiet for the past week. Emma, who usually texted me dozens of times a day with wedding updates and random thoughts, had barely communicated with me. When I'd asked her about it, she'd brushed it off, saying she was just stressed and trying to disconnect a bit before the big day. But that morning, as I sipped my coffee and went through my mental checklist of maid of honor duties, my phone buzzed with a text from my cousin Jessica. The message made my blood run cold. "Scarlett, I'm so sorry about what happened. Emma told us you decided not to come to the wedding. Are you okay?" I stared at the message, reading it 3 times before the words actually registered. Decided not to come? What was she talking about? I was the maid of honor. I had my dress, my shoes, my speech carefully memorized. I was supposed to be at the venue in 4 hours to help Emma get ready. With trembling fingers, I called Jessica back. "Jess, what are you talking about? Of course I'm coming to the wedding. I'm the maid of honor." The silence on the other end of the line stretched on for what felt like eternity. "Scarlett," Jessica's voice was barely above a whisper, "Emma told everyone last night that you had a big fight and decided to boycott the wedding. She said you were angry about something and chose not to be part of her special day. She's already asked our cousin Sarah to step in as maid of honor." The world tilted sideways. I felt like I was falling through space, grasping for something solid to hold on to. A fight? I racked my brain, trying to remember any argument, any disagreement, anything that could have led to this moment. But there was nothing. The last time I'd spoken to Emma was 3 days ago, and we were discussing the final head count for the reception. "That's impossible," I managed to say. "We never had a fight. I've been helping her plan this wedding for months. This has to be some kind of misunderstanding." But even as I said it, a cold realization was settling in my chest. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was deliberate. I hung up the phone and immediately called Emma. Straight to voicemail. I tried again, same thing. Then I called my parents. "Oh, Scarlett," my mother's voice was strained when she answered. "I was wondering when you'd call." "Mom, what's going on? Jessica just told me that Emma said I'm not coming to the wedding." Another pause. Another silence that spoke volumes. "Honey, Emma told us about your decision. We're disappointed, of course, but if you feel like you can't support your sister on her special day..." "What decision?" I was practically screaming now. "I never made any decision. I'm supposed to be there in 4 hours." "Scarlett, please, don't make this harder than it already is. Emma's been crying all morning about your fight. She said you told her some terrible things, and that you couldn't stand to watch her be happy." I felt like I was in the twilight zone. None of this made sense. None of this had happened. But somehow, everyone in my family believed it had. "Mom, I'm coming to the wedding. I'm Emma's maid of honor. Whatever she told you, it's not true." "Scarlett, no. You can't just show up uninvited. Emma specifically asked us to make sure you knew you weren't welcome today." The words hit me like a physical blow. Uninvited. Not welcome at my own sister's wedding. I hung up the phone and sat in stunned silence, staring at my bridesmaid dress. The pink silk that had looked so beautiful moments before now seemed to mock me. I thought about all the hours I'd spent helping Emma, all the money I'd invested in this wedding, all the love and support I'd given her. And then something inside me snapped. I wasn't going to let this happen. I wasn't going to let Emma rewrite history and paint me as the villain in some story I'd never even been part of. I was going to that wedding, uninvited or not. I was going to find out exactly what was going on and why my sister had decided to destroy our relationship on what should have been the happiest day of her life. I looked at myself in the mirror, straightened my shoulders, and made a decision that would change everything. But what I discovered at that wedding was far worse than anything I could have ever imagined.
The St. Mary's Cathedral looked absolutely stunning as I pulled into the parking lot. White roses cascaded down the stone steps, and elegant ribbon decorations fluttered in the gentle breeze. Guests were still arriving, and I watched from my car as family members and friends I'd known my entire life walked past, all dressed in their wedding finest. I sat there for 10 minutes, gathering my courage. Part of me wanted to turn around and drive home, to preserve whatever dignity I had left. But the bigger part of me, the part that had been Emma's big sister for 26 years, needed answers. I decided not to wear my bridesmaid dress. Instead, I'd chosen a simple navy blue dress that was elegant but wouldn't draw attention. I didn't want to create a scene or overshadow Emma's day. Despite everything, I just wanted to understand what had happened to my family. As I walked up the cathedral steps, I saw my Aunt Margaret near the entrance. "Scarlett," she exclaimed, but her smile faltered when she saw me. I thought, "Emma said that I wasn't coming. I know what she said, but I need to speak with her." Aunt Margaret looked uncomfortable, glancing around as if she was looking for backup. "Honey, maybe this isn't the best time. She's getting ready and she's already emotional." "Please, Aunt Margaret, I just need 5 minutes with my sister. Something terrible has happened and I need to understand what it is." She studied my face for a long moment, and I think she saw the genuine confusion and pain in my eyes because she nodded slowly. "She's in the bridal room downstairs. But Scarlett, please be gentle. Whatever happened between you two, today is her wedding day." I made my way through the cathedral, past the gorgeous floral arrangements I'd helped Emma choose, past the pews where our extended family was gathering. A few people waved at me, others looked surprised to see me, and some whispered to their companions when I passed. The bridal room was at the end of a long corridor in the cathedral's basement. I could hear laughter and music coming from behind the closed door. I knocked gently. "Emma, it's Scarlett. I need to talk to you." The laughter stopped abruptly. I heard hushed voices, and then the door opened just a crack. It was Sarah, my cousin, wearing what should have been my maid of honor dress. "Scarlett, you shouldn't be here," she whispered, not meeting my eyes. "Sarah, please, I just need to understand what's happening. Emma told everyone we had a fight, but we didn't. Something's wrong here, and I need to talk to my sister." "She doesn't want to see you." But her voice lacked conviction. "Please, 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking for." After what felt like an eternity, Sarah stepped back and opened the door wider. The room fell silent as I entered. Emma was sitting in front of a large mirror, her wedding dress spread around her like a white cloud. Her makeup artist had just finished, and she looked absolutely radiant. But when our eyes met in the mirror, her expression hardened. "What are you doing here, Scarlett?" Her voice was cold, detached. This wasn't the sister I knew. "Emma, I need to know what I did. Everyone thinks we had this terrible fight, but I don't remember any fight. The last time we talked, everything was fine. You were excited about the centerpieces, and we laughed about Dad's dancing at the rehearsal dinner. Emma turned around in her chair to face me directly. For a moment, I saw a flicker of something in her eyes. Maybe guilt, but it was quickly replaced by that same cold stare. I can't do this right now, Scarlett. It's my wedding day. Then when? When can we talk about whatever this is? Because I'm completely lost here. Yesterday, I was your maid of honor, and today I'm uninvited to your wedding. What happened in between? The other bridesmaids were watching this exchange like it was a tennis match, their heads turning back and forth between us. The room was thick with tension. Emma stood up, smoothing down her dress. You know what you did. But I don't. I was fighting back tears now. Emma, please, I love you. You're my little sister. I would never do anything to hurt you, especially not right before your wedding. Just tell me what I supposedly did, and I'll apologize. I'll make it right. And then something shifted in Emma's expression. The mask slipped for just a moment, and I saw the sister I knew underneath. The one who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms, who called me crying when her first boyfriend broke her heart, and who would ask me to be her maid of honor because she said I was the most important person in her life. You really don't know, do you? I shook my head, tears streaming down my face now. I swear to you, Emma, I have no idea what's going on. She looked at her bridesmaids and jerked her head towards the door. Can you give us a minute? They filed out reluctantly, Sarah giving me one last worried look before closing the door behind her. Emma sat back down heavily, suddenly looking exhausted despite her perfect makeup and beautiful dress. It wasn't supposed to happen this way, she said quietly. What wasn't supposed to happen this way? She was quiet for so long that I thought she wasn't going to answer. Then she looked up at me with tears in her eyes. Marcus came to see me 3 days ago. Marcus. Her fiancé. I felt a chill run down my spine. He told me something that I never wanted to hear, especially not 3 days before my wedding. I waited, my heart pounding. He said that 2 weeks ago, at my bachelorette party, you tried to seduce him. The words hit me like a truck. I actually stumbled backward. What? He said, you were drunk, and you cornered him when he came to pick me up. He said you told him that you'd always been attracted to him and that you could make him happier than I could. He said you kissed him. I stared at him in complete shock. Emma, that never happened. I would never... He had details, Scarlett. He knew about the red dress you were wearing. He knew about the conversation you'd had with Jessica about your dating life. He knew things that only someone who was there would know. My mind was reeling. The bachelorette party had been at my apartment. Marcus had come to pick Emma up at the end of the night. I had been wearing a red dress, and I had talked to Jessica about my dating struggles. But the rest of it... Emma, I swear to you on our mother's life, I never tried to seduce Marcus. I never kissed him. I would never do that to you. She studied my face intently. Then why would he lie about something like that? What would he gain from it? And suddenly, like a bolt of lightning, I understood. The pieces fell into place with terrifying clarity. Marcus was lying, but why would he lie about something so destructive unless he was trying to destroy my relationship with Emma for a reason? But what I realized in that moment was even more shocking than his lie.
Emma, I said slowly, my voice barely above a whisper, I think Marcus is lying to you, and I think I know why. She shook her head vigorously. Scarlett, please don't. I can't handle any more drama today. I'm getting married in an hour. No, listen to me. This is important. Think about it logically. When has Marcus ever shown any interest in me? When have I ever given him any indication that I was attracted to him? Emma was quiet, considering this. Never, she admitted reluctantly. But people can hide things. Emma, you know me better than anyone in this world. Do you really think I'm capable of what he's accusing me of? I watched as doubt crept into her expression. The sister I knew was still in there, fighting against whatever poison Marcus had fed her. But why would he lie about something so awful? She asked again. I took a deep breath. This was the moment of truth, and I knew it could either save our relationship or destroy it forever. Because 3 weeks ago, I saw something I wasn't supposed to see. Emma's eyes widened. What are you talking about? I was running errands downtown, and I stopped by that coffee shop on 5th Street. You know, the one with the good croissants? I was in line when I saw Marcus at a corner table with a woman I didn't recognize. They were holding hands across the table, and she was wearing an engagement ring. The color drained from Emma's face. I thought maybe it was a business meeting or a friend, so I didn't think much of it at first. But then I saw him kiss her. Not a friendly kiss, Emma, a passionate, romantic kiss. Emma sat down hard in her chair, her hand pressed to her chest. I didn't know what to do. I stood there frozen, watching my sister's fiancé with another woman 3 weeks before their wedding. I followed them outside from a distance, and I heard her call him baby and talk about their plans for after this whole wedding thing was over. No, Emma's whispered. No, you're lying. You're making this up because you're angry about the maid of honor thing. Emma, I have photos. The words hung in the air between us like a bomb waiting to explode. I took them with my phone because I knew no one would believe me. I've been carrying this secret for 3 weeks, trying to figure out how to tell you without destroying your happiness. I pulled out my phone and showed her the pictures I'd taken that day. Marcus with his arm around another woman, Marcus kissing her, the woman showing off what looked like an engagement ring to someone off camera. Emma stared at the photos, her breathing becoming shallow and rapid. "Who is she?" she whispered. "I don't know, but I hired a private investigator to find out." Emma's head snapped up. "You what?" "I spent every penny of my savings to hire someone to investigate Marcus. I got the report yesterday." I pulled a folded envelope from my purse. "Her name is Amanda Richardson. She's been engaged to Marcus for 8 months. Emma's hands were shaking as she took the envelope. Inside were photographs, documents, and a detailed report about Marcus's double life. "She thinks she's marrying him next month in Vegas," I said quietly. "She has no idea about you." Emma was crying now, her perfect makeup running down her cheeks as she read through the investigator's report. "He's been telling her that he's a traveling salesman, which is why he's away so often. She thinks his frequent trips are for work, but he's been living here with you." "Oh God," Emma sobbed. "Oh God, Scarlett, what have I done?" I knelt beside her chair and took her hands in mine. "You didn't know. He manipulated both of us. He knew I'd found out about Amanda, so he created this lie about me trying to seduce him. He wanted to make sure you wouldn't believe me when I tried to tell you the truth. But why didn't you tell me right away? Why did you wait?" I sighed. "Because I love you, and I knew it would devastate you. I kept hoping the investigation would prove me wrong, that there was an innocent explanation. I was going to tell you yesterday, but you wouldn't take my calls." Emma looked up at me with red, swollen eyes. "I'm so sorry, Scarlett. I'm so sorry. I believed him over you. I kicked you out of my wedding. I told everyone you were a terrible sister. I let him turn me against you." "It's okay," I said, pulling her into a hug. "He's very good at manipulation. That's how he's been pulling off this double life for months." We held each other for a long moment, crying together in that bridal room while her wedding guests waited upstairs. "What am I going to do?" Emma whispered. "Everyone's here. The ceremony is supposed to start in 45 minutes. The reception is paid for. Mom and Dad will be so embarrassed." I pulled back and looked at her seriously. "Emma, you can't marry him. You know you can't." "But how do I explain this to everyone? How do I tell 200 people that my fiancé has been living a double life?" "You don't have to explain anything to anyone right now, except for the people who matter most. But you have to call off this wedding." Emma nodded slowly, fresh tears streaming down her face. "Will you help me?
I know I don't deserve it after what I did to you, but I can't face this alone. Of course I'll help you. That's what big sisters are for. But just then, there was a knock on the door. Emma, it was Marcus's voice. Can I see you for a minute? I wanted to tell you how beautiful you look before the ceremony. Emma and I looked at each other, and I saw a new strength in her eyes. She wiped her face and stood up. Come in, Marcus. The door opened, and Marcus walked in wearing his tuxedo and that charming smile that had fooled everyone for so long. But when he saw me, his expression changed completely. What is she doing here? He asked, his voice suddenly cold. Emma stood up straight, holding the investigator's report in her hand. She's here because she's my sister, and she was trying to protect me from you. Marcus's face went pale as he saw the papers in Emma's hands. Emma, whatever she's told you, it's not true. She's been trying to break us up since the beginning. She's jealous of our happiness. Is Amanda Richardson jealous of our happiness too, Marcus? The name hit him like a physical blow. He actually stumbled backward. I don't know what you're talking about, but his voice was shaking now. Emma held up one of the photographs. This is you kissing your other fiancé 3 weeks ago. Scarlett has been investigating you because she saw you with her. Marcus looked back and forth between us, and I could see his mind racing, trying to find a way out of this. Those photos are fake, he said desperately. She hired someone to create fake photos because she's obsessed with me. But Emma was done being manipulated. Get out, she said quietly. Emma, please, let me explain. Get out, she screamed, her voice echoing off the walls. Get out of here before I call the police. Marcus looked like he was going to say something else, but the door burst open and my father appeared. What's going on down here? People can hear shouting upstairs. Emma looked at Dad with tears in her eyes. The wedding is off, Daddy. Marcus has been lying to me about everything. And that's when Marcus made his final, desperate play.
Marcus turned to my father with that same charming smile that had won over our entire family. Mr. Thompson, I'm so sorry you have to see this. Scarlett has been filling Emma's head with lies because she's jealous that I chose Emma over her. She's been obsessed with me for months, and now she's created fake evidence to try to break us up. I watched in horror as doubt flickered across my father's face. Marcus was good at this. He'd had practice manipulating people. That's not true, Dad, I said firmly. I have proof that Marcus has been engaged to another woman for 8 months. Fake proof that she paid someone to create, Marcus insisted. Mr. Thompson, you know your daughter. You know how she gets when she wants something she can't have. The comment stung, because there was a grain of truth in it. I had always been the more determined sister, the one who fought harder for what I wanted. And Marcus was using that against me now. But Emma stepped forward, her wedding dress rustling around her. Dad, look at these photos. Look at this investigator's report. Scarlett spent her entire savings to hire a professional to investigate Marcus because she was trying to protect me. Dad took the papers with shaking hands. He'd paid for this wedding. He'd walked Marcus into our family with open arms. This was his nightmare too. As Dad read through the report, Marcus made one last desperate attempt. Emma, you're making a huge mistake. Scarlett has been planning this for months. She's always been jealous of you, of how happy we are together. She can't stand to see you succeed where she's failed. Something snapped inside me. All the pain of the past few days, all the confusion and heartbreak crystallized into pure anger. You want to know the truth about jealousy, Marcus? I said, stepping closer to him. I was jealous of Emma, but not because of you. I was jealous because she found someone who made her so happy that she glowed when she talked about him. I was jealous of the way she smiled when she said your name. I was jealous of the love in her eyes when she looked at you. Marcus opened his mouth to speak, but I wasn't finished. But you know what I wasn't jealous of? I wasn't jealous of being lied to. I wasn't jealous of being manipulated and betrayed. I wasn't jealous of being someone's second choice while he planned a whole separate life with someone else. I pulled out my phone and called a number I'd programmed in yesterday. Amanda? It's Scarlett Thompson. We spoke yesterday about Marcus. Yes, he's here with us right now. Would you like to talk to him? Marcus's face went white as I put the phone on speaker. Amanda? Amanda? Is that you? This woman called me yesterday and told me you were engaged to someone else. I told her she was crazy, that we're getting married next month. Marcus, please tell me it's not true. The room was dead silent. Emma had her hand over her mouth, tears streaming down her face. Dad looked like he was going to be sick. And Marcus? Marcus looked like a trapped animal. Amanda? Marcus said quietly, I can explain everything. Oh my God. Amanda sobbed through the phone. Oh my God, it's true. You're really there with another woman on your wedding day. How could you do this to me? How could you do this to her? Emma took the phone from me. Amanda, are you still there? I'm here, came the weak reply. I'm so sorry this happened to both of us. Do you want to press charges? I think we both have grounds for some kind of fraud case. I just want him out of my life. I wasted 8 months on him. I can't waste any more time. After Emma hung up, the three of us sat in that bridal room in stunned silence. Finally, Dad cleared his throat. Scarlett, I owe you an enormous apology. When Emma told us about your supposed fight, I should have known it didn't make sense. You would never abandon your sister, especially not on her wedding day. I nodded, accepting his apology but still feeling raw from everything that had happened. What do we do now? Emma asked quietly. All those people are upstairs, waiting for a wedding. Dad stood up and straightened his tie. Now we go upstairs and tell our family and friends the truth, that you discovered some very important information about Marcus just in time, and that you made the brave decision not to marry someone who didn't deserve you. But people will talk. They'll gossip about this for years. I took her hand. Let them talk. The people who love you will understand. The people who don't understand don't matter. Emma squeezed my hand tightly, and for the first time in days, I felt like I had my sister back. But our ordeal wasn't over yet. We still had to face 200 wedding guests and explain why there wouldn't be a ceremony. And that's when something completely unexpected happened. As we prepared to go upstairs and face the crowd, there was another knock on the door. This time it was my mother, and she looked frantic. Emma, honey, people are starting to ask questions. The ceremony was supposed to start 20 minutes ago, and Marcus just ran out of here like the building was on fire. What's going on? Emma looked at me, then at Dad, then back at Mom. Sit down, Mom. We need to tell you something. The next few minutes were a whirlwind of explanation, tears, and shocked exclamations from my mother. She went through the same range of emotions we'd all experienced: disbelief, anger, heartbreak, and finally relief that Emma had discovered the truth before it was too late. That manipulative little snake, Mom said when we finished telling her everything. I never did like him completely. There was something too smooth about him, too practiced. Why didn't you say anything? Emma asked. Because you were so happy, and I thought I was just being an overprotective mother. I've never been more wrong about anything in my life. Dad cleared his throat. We need to go upstairs and address this situation. People have traveled from all over the country to be here. I'll do it, Emma said, standing up with new determination. This is my mess. I should be the one to explain it. But I had a different idea. What if we don't waste this day completely? What if we turn this into something positive instead of just a disaster? They all looked at me curiously. We have 200 people upstairs who love our family. We have food, music, flowers, and a beautiful venue. Instead of a wedding reception, what if we turn it into a celebration of family? A celebration of the fact that Emma was smart and brave enough to call off a marriage that would have destroyed her life. Emma's eyes lit up for the first time that day. You mean like a family reunion party? Exactly. We tell everyone what happened, we thank them for their love and support, and we celebrate the fact that sometimes the worst day of your life can actually be the day that saves your life. Mom was already nodding enthusiastically. I love that idea. And it would give Emma a chance to hold her head high instead of hiding in embarrassment. So that's exactly what we did. 20 minutes later, Emma and I walked into the cathedral together. She was still wearing her wedding dress, but she'd fixed her makeup and held her head high. I walked beside her in my navy blue dress, no longer uninvited, no longer cast out of my family. The crowd fell silent as we approached the altar where the minister was waiting. Emma took the microphone that was meant for her wedding vows and looked out at the sea of confused faces. Family and friends, thank you all for traveling here today to witness what you thought would be my wedding. Instead, you're about to witness something much more important. The moment I chose to save my own life. She went on to explain, in broad terms, that she had discovered some troubling information about Marcus that made it impossible for her to marry him. She didn't go into the details, there was no need to air all the dirty laundry in public, but she made it clear that the decision was final and that it was the right one. I know this is shocking and disappointing. Many of you have traveled long distances and spent money on gifts and accommodations, but instead of wasting this beautiful day, I'd like to invite you all to join my family in celebrating something much more meaningful. The love that exists between people who truly care about each other. She looked at me then, tears in her eyes, but her voice steady. 3 days ago, I made a terrible mistake. I let someone convince me that my sister, my best friend, my biggest supporter, had betrayed me. I threw away a lifetime of love and trust because I was manipulated by someone who didn't deserve either of us. Today, I learned that the person I thought I knew was a lie, but the sister I thought had betrayed me was actually trying to save me. The crowd was completely silent, hanging on every word. Scarlett spent her savings to hire a private investigator to protect me from a man who was lying to both me and another woman he was engaged to. When I wouldn't listen to her, she came here anyway, uninvited and unwelcome, because that's what sisters do. They show up. They fight for you even when you don't deserve it. I was crying now, but they were good tears, healing tears. So, instead of a wedding reception, I'd like this to be a celebration of the kind of love that really matters. The love of family. The love of people who tell you the truth, even when it's hard to hear. The love of people who show up, even when they're not invited. She turned to me and handed me the microphone. Scarlett, I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I'm asking for it anyway. Will you forgive me for being the worst sister in the world? I took the microphone, my hands shaking slightly. Emma, there's nothing to forgive. You were manipulated by an expert. The only thing I want you to remember from this day is that you were brave enough to choose truth over comfort, and strong enough to walk away from a lie even when it was hard. I looked out at the crowd of family and friends, many of whom were crying now. I want to thank all of you for being here today, not for the wedding that didn't happen, but for the love that did. Emma is going to be okay because she has all of you supporting her, and our family is going to be stronger because of what we learned here today. The crowd erupted in applause, and suddenly everyone was standing, cheering not for a wedding, but for a family that had found its way back to each other. What happened next was magical. Instead of a somber crowd filing out of the cathedral in disappointment, we had an impromptu celebration of family love. People hugged Emma and told her how proud they were of her courage. They hugged me and apologized for believing I could ever hurt my sister. The photographer, who had already been paid, took beautiful family photos that captured genuine joy instead of forced wedding smiles. The reception venue couldn't be canceled, so we went ahead with the party. Instead of a first dance between bride and groom, Emma and I danced together while our family cheered. Instead of wedding toasts, people shared stories about family loyalty and the importance of having people in your life who will fight for you even when you don't deserve it. It was, without question, one of the most beautiful days of my life.
As the evening wound down, Emma and I found ourselves alone on the venue's terrace, looking up at the stars. "I can't believe this day started with me thinking you hated me," she said quietly. "I could never hate you, Emma. Even when I thought you hated me, I still loved you more than anything. How did you stay so calm through all of this? How did you know exactly what to do?" I thought about her question for a moment. I wasn't calm, Emma. I was terrified. Terrified that I was losing my sister forever. Terrified that you'd marry someone who would hurt you. Terrified that I'd never get the chance to prove my innocence. But sometimes when you love someone, you find strength you didn't know you had. She said, "I'm going to spend the rest of my life making this up to you." No, you're not. You're going to spend the rest of your life being happy and making smart choices and trusting your instincts. That's all the repayment I need. We stood there in comfortable silence for a while, just being sisters again. "What do you think Marcus is doing right now?" Emma asked. "Probably calling Amanda and trying to convince her that we're all crazy," I said with a laugh. "Or maybe he's already on dating apps looking for victim number 3. Do you think there are others? Honestly, probably. Men like that don't usually limit themselves to just 2 victims. But that's not our problem anymore. Our only job now is to make sure you heal from this and learn to trust yourself again." She nodded thoughtfully. "You know what the strangest part of all this is?" "What?" "I feel relieved. Underneath all the embarrassment and heartbreak, I feel this enormous sense of relief, like I've been holding my breath for months without realizing it." I knew exactly what she meant. That's your intuition talking, the part of you that knew something wasn't right, even when you couldn't put your finger on what it was. I ignored so many red flags. The way he never wanted to meet my friends from college, how he was always vague about his work trips, how he seemed to know exactly what to say to make me doubt myself whenever I questioned anything. That's what manipulators do, Emma. They're experts at making you question your own reality. The important thing is that when it really mattered, when you had concrete proof, you found the strength to walk away. As we prepared to leave the venue, something occurred to me. "Emma, what are you going to do with all the wedding gifts?" She laughed, and it was the first truly happy sound I'd heard from her all day. "I'm going to return them with a note explaining that the wedding was called off because the groom turned out to be a pathological liar. I figure if people are going to gossip about this, they might as well have the real story." 3 months later, Emma started seeing a therapist to work through the emotional aftermath of her relationship with Marcus. She learned about gaslighting, manipulation, and how to recognize the warning signs of emotional abuse. She also learned to trust herself again. 6 months later, she got a call from Amanda, who had discovered that Marcus was engaged to yet another woman, his 4th fiancée that we knew of. Amanda had decided to start a support group for women who'd been victimized by serial manipulators, and she wanted Emma to help her run it.
A year later, Emma met David at a bookstore. He was nothing like Marcus. Quiet, where Marcus was charming. Thoughtful, where Marcus was impulsive. Honest, where Marcus was deceptive. When Emma told him about her almost wedding disaster, he didn't try to fix her or save her or convince her that all men weren't like Marcus. He just listened and told her he was proud of her for being brave enough to walk away from a bad situation. 2 years later, I was Emma's maid of honor again, this time for real. The wedding was small, intimate, and absolutely perfect. During her vows, Emma looked at David and said, "I promise to always trust the voice inside me that knows when something is real and when something is too good to be true. I promise to never again mistake charm for character or smooth words for genuine love." But the most meaningful moment of that day wasn't between Emma and David. It was when Emma pulled me aside during the reception and said, "Thank you for saving my life, even when I didn't want you to. Thank you for showing up uninvited when I needed you most. Thank you for being my sister, even when I forgot how to be yours." Looking back now, 3 years later,
I can honestly say that the day Emma almost married Marcus was one of the most important days of both our lives. Not because of what almost happened, but because of what we learned about ourselves and each other. I learned that love isn't always convenient or comfortable. Sometimes love means spending your life savings to investigate someone you hope you're wrong about. Sometimes love means showing up uninvited to a wedding where you're not welcome. Sometimes love means telling someone the truth, even when you know it will break their heart. Emma learned that her instincts were stronger than she thought, and that the people who really love you will fight for you, even when you're not fighting for yourself. She learned the difference between being cherished and being controlled, between being loved and being manipulated. Our family learned that blood isn't enough. You have to choose each other every day, especially when it's hard. We learned that sometimes the worst things that happen to you are actually the best things, because they force you to see clearly and choose wisely. And we all learned that weddings are just parties, but families, real families who show up for each other, those last forever. So let me ask you something. Have you ever had someone in your life try to turn you against the people who love you most? Have you ever had to choose between what felt comfortable and what you knew was true? Because I've learned that those moments, the moments when everything falls apart, are actually the moments when you discover who you really are and who really matters. If you've made it this far in my story, I want you to know that whatever situation you're facing, whatever difficult choice you need to make, you're stronger than you think you are. Trust your instincts. Listen to the people who have proven their love through actions, not just words. And remember that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is refuse to enable someone's lies, even when the truth is painful. If this story resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. Subscribe to hear more stories about finding strength in difficult times and choosing love over comfort. And remember, you deserve people in your life who will show up for you, even when you're not sure you deserve it. The best families aren't the ones who never fight or never face challenges. They're the ones who fight for each other, who choose truth over peace, and who love each other enough to do the hard thing when it matters most. That's what real love looks like. That's what real family does. And that's what I hope you find in your own life, whether you have to fight for it or not.